Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 43rd part of What If Deku Was a Magical Girl Mascot, Quirk, Magical Girl Mascot. The author of this great fan FIC is Emma Ively. Links to them and original story in the description. Chapter 43, Training Camp. Everyone had gotten up super early. Thankfully Izuku figured that would be the case and went to bed before 10, while it wasn't a full 8 hours it was close enough so that he could be in human form to near its full capacity. Though he was playing it safe in animal form at the beginning of the day. Aizawa tossed a ball at Katsuki. Katsuki recognized it as the soft ball from the start of the year. "Oh, so you want to see how much I improved?" said Katsuki. "Remember, no transformation," said Aizawa. "Yeah, I know," muttered Katsuki. She held the ball tossed in her hand, then yelled out, "Go to hell!" and launched a long ways. "All right. Let's see how far it went this time," said Kaminari. When it landed, Aizawa held up his phone, showing that it barely different. Katsuki's eyes widened. Well, then again, she tends to rely on her magical girl abilities, so it makes sense that it hadn't gotten better, said Siro. "What was that?" yelled Katsuki. "He has a point and you know it," sighed Tsuyu. Katsuki just screamed while Izuku tried to calm her down. "Now for the past few months we have been working many things, except for strengthen your quirks," said Aizawa. "That's what this camp is for. You are going to push yourselves to your limits but also beyond them." All of the students were unsure how to respond to this. The wild pussycats also showed up and began to explain what they were doing. Midoriya, your training is going to be a bit different," said Aizawa. Izuku turned into his human form since it was now needed. And Aizawa took out a jar with several pieces of paper in it. "Each day you will train a different quirk with your partner," he explained, "except in the case of your mother's quirk and the quirk of your newest partner." "Actually, she doesn't have a quirk," said Izuku. "Then that will be a wild card then, and you get to pick which quirk you train," said Aizawa, "and just don't pick so you can spend time with someone." "Don't worry, I will use that for something else," said Izuku. He knew it was better to train Engine if he got the wild card. Aizawa nodded. Izuku then picked out a quirk from the jar. He sweated when he saw what it was: transparency. AKA the one quirk he was sure he wouldn't use unless he absolutely had to, mainly because he was already stealthy in his animal form, and the other was because, well, "Do I have to train this one?" said Izuku, blushing. "I don't know when I would use." "You do," said Aizawa. "So take off your clothes and join Hagakure." "Yeah. Take it off, Midori," yelled Ashido. Izuku sighed and turned on Toru's quirk, turning completely invisible, and then took off his clothes. "I'm so cold," said Izuku, who was clearly shivering despite being completely invisible. "Don't worry, you'll get used to it," assured Toru, "plus it's still early morning." "That really doesn't help," cried Izuku. And so they all began to train. Izuku and Toru did something of a sort of hide and seek with Shoji, where he would try to find the two. Katsuki, on the other hand, would put her hand in hot water to make them sweat, then launch off a large explosion. Shoto's was also water-based, this time using her quirk to regulate water temperature. With Achiko, she rolled down a hill in one of those inflatable bubbles in order for her ears to get used to zero-gravity conditions. Tsuyu climbed up a rock wall with her tongue, while Tenya ran around. Their classmates also had their own training, along with Class 1B joining them later in the morning. It was hard, tough work throughout the day. However, during the training, Koto watched, still sullen and angry with the world. After all day of this, it was time for dinner. However, "Now, we made you dinner last night," said another member of the wild pussycats, a woman with long green hair wearing a yellow version of the outfit named Ragdoll, "but for now you all have to make your own dinner." Both classes groaned at this. However, Tenya realized something with it. "It's still part of training," said Tenya. "After all, a hero does need to help with relief in times of great need." Just about everyone groaned at Tenya's revelation, not that it was going to be of any help. And so everyone got to work. "Hey Bakugo, can you get the fire going?" called out Siro. "Fine," muttered Katsuki. She tried to set a fire, but it really just blew things up. "Why you?" yelled Katsuki. "Kaken. Please calm down," cried Izuku. "That stupid thing won't light up," yelled Katsuki. "Just calm down," cried Izuku. "Hey! Maybe you can use that as new training to control your explosions," said Kirishima, also trying to get her to calm down. "Seriously, now's not a good day for that, after everything," muttered Katsuki, glaring at Kirishima. "Yeah," said Kirishima with a sweat drop. Thankfully, despite that, they were able to cook dinner and eat it. It wasn't good food, but it was edible enough, especially with such a hard day of training. However, Izuku, as he ate, noticed Mandalay calling for Kota. Tenya noticed the look on Izuku's face when he heard Mandalay call this out. Not too longer later, Izuku, still in animal form as he didn't need it for the rest of the day, and Tenya followed some footprints that they knew belonged to Kota to a small cave at a cliff. "Hey, hey!" called out Izuku, "we brought you dinner." He glared at the two. "I don't want to hang out with a bunch of wannabe heroes, so you better leave my secret hideout," muttered Kota. "This is a secret hideout?" asked Izuku. "How did you even find me?" asked Kota. "Oh, we followed your footprints," said Tenya. Kota scowled at the two. Izuku sighed. "Your parents were the water hose duo, weren't they?" asked Izuku. "Did Mandalay tell you?" demanded Kota. "Well, kind of," said Izuku, blushing. "What he means to say is that she told us that your parents were heroes who died in battle but didn't say who they were," said Tenya. Kota gritted his teeth. "Training your quirks, claiming to get stronger, trying to be heroes, everyone just wants to show off," muttered Kota, obsessed with names like hero and villain. "They're all pathetic." The two looked at the little boy. "He doesn't just hates heroes but quirks altogether," thought Izuku. He wasn't sure what to say next, but he really wanted to help the boy, and unfortunately something happened. A light came from his gem and headed towards Kota. "Oh no! Oh no! Not again!" yelled Izuku. "What is that?" asked Kota, looking at the light. "Don't touch it!" cried Izuku. Kota glared at Izuku. It was clear he was going to touch it to spite Izuku. "Oh no, it's Shoto all over again," thought Izuku. However, thankfully Tenya saw the look on her partner's face and activated her quirk, which it did knock of Izuku from her shoulder, and pulled Kota away from the light and held onto him so he wouldn't do anything stupid. "What are you doing?" yelled Kota, struggling against Tenya. "You don't want to touch that light without knowing what is," said Tenya, still holding on at him. After about a minute the light faded and both Izuku and Tenya breathed a sigh of relief, and Tenya let go of Kota. "Okay. Seriously. What is up with your quirk?" said Kota. "It's freaking weird." "You saw me use Toru's quirk, didn't you?" asked Izuku. Kota just glared at him. "For one thing, that light would have turned you into a girl," said Tenya. "Wait, what?" said Kota. "It's true, my quirk lets me bond with people. I power them up while I gain a copy of their quirk, but if I bond with someone who's male they turn into a girl," said Izuku. "Are you serious?" asked Kota, staring at Izuku. "Sorry, sometimes the ability gets away from me," said Izuku, "and I didn't mean to try to bond with you." Kota just glared at Izuku. "What are you, a magical girl mascot?" Kota said very sarcastically. Izuku sighed when he said that. Kota just stared at Izuku. "What are you going to bond with most of the pussycats?" muttered Kota, rolling his eyes. "I really hope not," sighed Izuku with a shudder, remembering what happened the day before. Kota rolled his eyes. Kota. I know what you're going through, said Tenya, dictating to get the topic back on track. What? Asked Kota. My older brother was a hero, said Tenya. He's alive, but he was attacked by the hero killer and can no longer walk. Kota them. You can't push people away, said Tenya. I pushed away my closest friends and ended up making mistakes I can never recover from. Kota continued to glare at him. If you push everyone away, you'll end up regretting it, agreed Izuku. I don't want to hear it, growled out Kota. I've heard this plenty of times. Both of them flinched when he yelled that out, and they realized they should leave him alone. I didn't drop the food, said Tenya, placing down the curry, so you should eat. Izuku jumped onto Tenya's shoulder. Wait, said Kota. Yes? Asked Tenya. Did you used to be a guy? Asked Kota, blushing a little. I was, sighed Tenya. Whatever, muttered Kota. The last member of the Wild Pussycats was Tiger, who was not only the only male member of the team but also a transsexual. He was also that was mentioned who often fought against the school uniform law. Look, I live with Tiger, so I don't really care about those things. I was just curious, said Kota. Tenya nodded. The two of them left. So, said Izuku. I will continue to help him, said Tenya. Izuku nodded. They headed back to the camp. That night as they slept, they were unaware of the camp being watched, as a plan was being continued for the next night. A plan that none of them would ever expect. A plan that would hurt them in an unexpected way. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 44. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.